Hello and welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. My name is Eleanor and I am a British American oboist studying at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, literally my dream school. And it took me a long way to get there. I applied and auditioned for 12 schools in 3 different countries. It was a lot of hard work, but oh my gosh, so worth it. I want you to have the confidence to work hard in achieving your goals. So come with me as we go on this journey together. So sit down, pull up a chair, take a seat, or if you're on the go, welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Confident Musicianing Podcast. I'm really glad you're here and that you want to plan your practice for efficiency, because I feel like as musicians, when we start out on an instrument, we're like, okay, we need to practice, but we never really know how, and even after a while of playing, we might still not know how to practice or do it efficiently. We might just sit in the practice room and like make noise or not really know what we're actually doing. But when you start planning your practice for efficiency, you are able to really see how things go together and how you can improve from session to session. So I'm really glad that you are here. I hope you are having a good day. I am having a really cozy day. It is kind of early in the day. I mean, it's not really, but it feels early in the day for me. And I feel like it's a perfect time to record a podcast episode for you. So let's dive right into it. So the key of this whole thing is kind of the main idea, which is planning your practice. If you just sit in a practice room without planning it and you just kind of noodle away for a certain amount of time, afterwards you might feel like, okay, I played, woohoo, but what did you actually do? Do you know what I mean? Like, let's actually dive into this and figure out how we can plan that session. So I think this is going to be in like 3 steps. Is it 3? No, it's 4. This is going to be in 4 steps. So let's dive right in. So the first one is accepting that every session will be different and that you can't have every session be the perfect session. This is really important. I think consistency is more important than like perfection in sessions. Perfection kind of is the opposite of progress, I feel, because if you want everything to be perfect, then how are you going to get better at anything, So one day you might feel super up for practice and you might be like, oh my gosh, today I'm going to be practicing and I'm going to be really focused and efficient and it's going to be amazing, and you want to practice a lot. And then the next day you can be like, I do not feel like practicing. I don't think I can manage that much, maybe a little bit. And then maybe another day you might be like, I need to take a break today from practicing. And then maybe the day after you're feeling a little better. But the fact is, it is consistent. I think the important thing is that you are actually doing it. Having a week where it's like 20% of ability to practice, and then 100, and then 80, and then maybe 40, and then back down to 20, and kind of doing that, but doing it every day is better than the occasional like 100% and then nothing else, and then 100% and then nothing else, because that's not how progress happens. So I think it's fine to give yourself that grace in practice, that it isn't completely like 100% all the time, and that is okay. If you can only manage 20% and you do 20%, that was 100% for that day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's okay to have different capacities on different days. So at the beginning, assessing how you feel and being like, okay, what can I manage today? Am I feeling really up for, more practice today, or maybe not as much? Is my day like really busy today? Maybe, sometimes I have like lots of classes or, lots of things going on, and maybe I can only manage like a little bit of practice that day, but maybe the next day I can manage more. Kind of planning around that's really important. So assessing not only how you feel, but how much time you're going to have, what your day is going to look like. So then you can base it off of that, and knowing that it is so much better to have more consistency in your practice, even if it is not, like 100% every day, having that more consistency, understanding your capacity, and then also filling that capacity, even if that capacity is different, that is so much better than just like waiting until you feel amazing to practice, waiting for motivation, right? Because motivation comes from the actual act of doing that thing. That is so much more important than just like waiting for the motivation to spark, because the motivation will not spark unless you actually start. So assessing how you feel, understanding that's the first step. The next thing is planning that practice and keeping in mind how you feel. If you're not feeling up to doing everything, or if you have limited time, focus on the most important things and don't overwhelm yourself. That's not going to get you anywhere. But having that plan is really, really important. So let's talk about planning. Writing down a plan. I personally like to write down all the things that I need to do and then put them in my session. So if, let's say, I have 2 sessions that day, I put them in, right? I'm like, okay, I'll do this then and that then. Then this is a trick that I like to do. Put timestamps and make them really specific. So for me, I'll do something like, I'm going to practice this thing for 16 minutes, not 15, not 20, not 10, 16. So if I start my practice session at 10 a.m., right, it's 10 to 10:16. And for some reason, my brain really focuses when it's like, okay, 16 minutes, that's so specific, 16. And then maybe you'll be like, okay, then I have 2 minutes to kind of take a wee break. And after that, I'm going to do the next thing for 12 minutes, and then the next thing for 18, or the next thing for, really specific, 22 minutes. That is specific. It's not 20, it's not 25, it's 22. For me, I don't know why. It just is a really specific brain trick for me, and it really helps. So I really recommend that. And also figuring out what works for your brain. Maybe that doesn't work for your brain. Maybe your brain's like, what? That's so weird. That doesn't help. Maybe. So if that doesn't help for you, then don't do it. It helps for me. But find that thing that helps you, and you can do a little trial and error. The more you do this, the more you kind of learn what works for you and what doesn't. So I recommend that you kind of do this trial and error and kind of figure it out. Your practice sessions are for you and for you only. So whatever works in them, do that thing. And if something works in someone else's session and it doesn't work in yours, then don't do that thing. This is personal to you. So writing down a plan, I personally like to add timestamps and make them really specific, but create that plan, right? Have that plan. And it's okay if the plan does not go to plan, but have that plan at least, so then you know what you're working on. And a tool that I use in my planning that I find really helpful is a notable practice journal. I started using these about a year ago, actually, and it has really helped me, especially as a music school conservatoire student. I can not only plan my practice, but reflect on my practice, and we will get there in a wee bit, because reflection is really, really, really important. But this notebook, having a tangible notebook that not only is a tangible thing that I can look at, but is also already structured. I feel like I used to use kind of blank notebooks for my practice planning, and that was okay, but I feel like on the days where I, wasn't feeling up for practicing, or maybe feeling a little less motivated or kind of tired, staring at a blank page being like, okay, now we have to create a section for planning and then a section for reflection and writing down the date and things like that. That kind of made it that was a bit overwhelming sometimes, and then I didn't plan, and then I didn't have as an effective session. So having a notebook that actually has a space for planning, a space for reflection that you just have to fill out, for me, that made a big difference. So as soon as I realized that this notebook was helping me, I knew that I needed to tell you about it and give you a code. So use code Eleanor15 for 15% off your journal. That is ELEANOR15 for 15% off your journal. I never recommend anything that I don't absolutely love. That code is an affiliate code, which means I do receive a commission with no extra cost to you. The code will be in the description, the show notes, as well as the link to the site where you can get your journal. I highly recommend it. It has really helped me in my practice for planning and reflecting. So, speaking of reflection, let's talk about reflection. Reflection, I think, is a really important bit in practicing because it kind of informs the next practice session, because you write down like what went well, what didn't go well, how can you do better, what you want to focus on in the next session. That's really important, because then you can look back and be like, in the next day you can look back and be like, what did I want to focus on? What didn't work that I really want to kind of make work, And that is another thing that the Notable Practice Journal really helps with that. So reflection, that's step 3. And then step 4, I think this is kind of a bonus step. It's not really something that is in like chronological order, but it really helps me, is recording myself, right? I record myself to bring out the things that I might not have been hearing in my session. So maybe I was practicing and I didn't realize I was doing something that wasn't helpful, or I was playing these notes, too long or too short or whatever it is. And that recording myself can really help kind of make my session more efficient, because then I can hear what is not working or what is working, and I can focus on those things. So every few practice sessions I make sure to record something to have that little check-in. So that's a little kind of bonus thing, number 4, recording yourself. And then you can write down in your practice journal what thing you heard. You were like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was doing this thing. I want to work on it in the next session. So that is kind of it. Let's do a bit of a recap. So the first thing is assessing how much energy you have, how much time you have, what can you actually put in your sessions that day. Then planning your practice, and really kind of creating that plan, and a tangible plan. I use a Notable Practice Journal. That really helps me. There is a code for you because it really helps me, and I do like to share the things that help me, because I hope that they will help you as well. Then reflecting so that the next session can be even better. And then the last thing, which is kind of a bonus thing, recording yourself every few sessions to check in and make sure that you are catching things that maybe you can't hear when you're playing, because when you are playing, you're focusing on so many things, you might not pick up on something that you might have to work on. So that is kind of it, and that is it for this session, or this episode. That is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It was something that, I think is really important. So if you did enjoy this episode, please do like, follow, subscribe, share, all of the things. And yeah, if you know someone who could benefit from this episode, please do share it with them. I want to help you in your musical journey, but I also want to kind of have these episodes help all your friends who might be going through a similar experience. So please do share this with someone who might need it, or might benefit from it. And yeah, so that is about it. I am now going to go eat something. I'm feeling kind of hungry, so I'm gonna go eat something, and I wish you all of the best on your musical journey and your future practice sessions. All right, take care.